Welcome friends, Retro Commodores, Space Magic. Today I thought I'd share with you a game called Cave Fighter for the Commodore 64. I was watching some Mario stuff the other day, and it made me think of this game for some reason. It's sort of a platformer game, a little bit of a different game. So let's take a look at it. So in this game, you have your little guy here. If you press the button and press the joystick in a direction at the same time, you shoot in that direction. So you press up, you press right, left, whatever. If you just press the button by itself and hold it, then you can see at the top of the screen there's a jump meter and you jump. And you have to be very careful about how you navigate the game, because you can't touch any of the walls. And also, as you can imagine, not only are the crawling pickles very interesting, but you also have to be careful with how you approach these various baddies. And there is a time meter at the top of the screen that you also have to take into consideration. And these flowers that shoot things. You can't shoot through the rope. Whoop, whoop. But the ropes are tricky to navigate. Whoop. So jumping onto ropes can be a tricky thing to do. Now let's see how far we can get in this first level here. When it comes to controls for retro games like this, particularly on systems like the Commodore 64, on the one hand, they were somewhat, the developers were somewhat limited with what they had to work with. You had the joystick and one button. The computers were getting sophisticated enough beyond something like, say, the Atari 2600, to where you could start making somewhat more complex, interesting games, but you still had the same limited controls of just a joystick and one button. So you had to figure out how to do everything you wanted with just that control scheme. But by the same token, it seems to me like some of the control schemes they use for some of these games could have been designed or developed a bit better, to be a little bit smoother. Alright, we'll give this level one more try. It's also lovely, all the sound effects that some of these creatures make. Whoop. A lot of design must have gone into the sound effects element. We'll just sneak down there this time. Oh. And see right there, what you just saw right there is a perfect example of the issue with trying to combine both the jump button and the shoot button, where sometimes if you shoot, you end up shooting and then jumping after you shoot. Which, again, if you hit anything, If you touch anything in the game world, the walls, the ceilings, anything, that takes you out. What are these? Plier monsters? Sort of like scissor monsters, except they're like pliers or something. And I'm sure you've seen by now that the spawning of the various creatures is random. Okay, let's see if we can take out this flower. Good, without it doing anything. At least when you are shooting, if you hold down the button, you just keep shooting like that, which can make it a little bit easier when you have a whole bunch of things to take out. The only instance where you can touch the ceiling is when you're on a rope. If you climb to the top of the rope, then it doesn't do anything, but trying to get from the rope to a platform is, like I keep saying, another tricky element. Oh, and time was up. I think maybe one reason why so many games had time meters back when this game was made was because they were inspired by arcade games, where a lot of arcade games had time meters because they didn't want people to just sit around on a game and use up all the time of the game sitting there. They wanted to encourage people to keep playing the game because they wanted to give other people the opportunity to get in and play the game also, so they could make as much money as they could. They wouldn't want someone to just spend 1 quarter and then just sit on the game all day. So they included time meters to sort of help encourage people to play and spend more quarters as they're getting through the game. And because arcade games were so popular when games like this came out, and because they were inspired by them, I think a lot of them included time meters, even when it wasn't actually necessary for a home game. Anyhow, that's a little look at Cave Fighter for the Commodore 64. I hope you enjoyed the video. Remember to subscribe to be notified of whenever I upload new videos. Liking is a wonderful thing to do. And tune in again next time for more retro fun.